Hi students, this is for ninth class in the chapter Matter and Surroundings. In the previous class, we have discussed about what is matter and the characteristics of the matter. We learned about matter, definition of matter and different states of matter and characteristics of matter. Its next topic we are going to see now. The next one is that can matter change its state? Is we can change the state of the matter. That means if you take a solid, is we can get it converted into liquid, or liquid it will get converted into gas. Like that is we can change the state of matter or not. Yes, we can change the state of matter by doing the things like first one is that by changing the temperature. Change of temperature. By changing the temperature, we can change the state of matter. And the second one is that by changing the pressure. By changing the pressure. By the change of pressure or by the change of temperature, we can change the state of matter. Here, in the previous class, we learned that all the particles of matter, whether they may be solids or liquids or gases, they will have kinetic energy. If you take solids, the particles are very closely packed and they vibrate on their mean positions with more forces of attraction together. Like that only, if you take liquids, the force of attraction is somewhat less and they vibrate freely, they move freely with some kinetic energy. If you take the gases, the force of attraction between the particles of gases is very less and they will have more kinetic energy. So whenever we change the temperature, the force of attraction changes. Sometimes the force of attraction increases and sometimes the force of attraction decreases and the kinetic energy changes. By that we can change the state of matter. If you take solids, solids can be converted into liquids. By increasing the temperature, solids can be converted into liquids. It is only called as fusion or melting. If liquids are getting converted into gases, liquids can be converted into gases by increasing the temperature or by supplying the heat energy. If we increase the temperature, liquids changes into gases. It is called as boiling or vaporization. Here, this process takes place by increasing the temperature. By increasing the temperature, by supplying heat energy, solids changes to liquids, liquids changes to gases. If you decrease the temperature, that means if you take away the heat energy, gases converts into liquids. Liquids converts into solids. If you decrease the temperature, gases changes to liquids, liquids changes to solids. If we increase the temperature, solid changes to liquids, liquid changes to gases. What we call when we decrease the temperature of gases. If we decrease the temperature of gases, or if we take away heat energy from the gas particles, they get converted into liquid. It is called condensation. If further the temperature is decreased, the liquid converts into solid and this process is called solidification. Just by changing the temperature, by increasing the temperature, we can change the solid into liquid and liquid into gas. By decreasing the temperature, we can change gases into liquids and liquids into solids. These are the names for each and every process related to liquid. There is another way that we can think that is directly solids changes into gases. Yes, solids, some of the solids directly they changes into gases. This process is called sublimation. If you decrease the temperature, some of the gases directly gets the state of solid. It is called deposition. For an example, if you take dry ice means dry ice. It is nothing but solid carbon dioxide. Dry ice means nothing but solid carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is a gas. If you make it cool, if you decrease the temperature, directly it will come into the form of solid like an ice cube. So that's why we are calling it as a dry ice. We do this by decreasing the temperature and by increasing the pressure. Here, so gaseous carbon dioxide is getting converted into solid form of it is getting converted into solid form, which we call generally as dry ice. It is an example for deposition. Next, you take the naphthalene balls. Naphthalene balls, ammonium chloride. These are all examples in our daily life. We can observe that these are all the examples which undergo sublimation. That means they go directly from solid to gas. See what happens and how the state of matter changes from solid to liquid. If you are increasing the temperature, the solid particles they are taking away the heat energy, and the kinetic energy of the particles is getting increased. Being like that, the kinetic energy of the particles is getting increased and increased from time to time. After reaching a certain level, the force of attraction between the solid particles it breaks and it gets converted into liquid. Like that only, if you raise the temperature further, again the heat energy is taken by the liquid particles and the kinetic energy of the particles goes on increases, and at certain level the force of attraction between the liquid particles gets broken and they changes into gases. This is the simple thing what happens, how the state of matter is getting changed. Here one thing we have to remember is that when solid is changing into liquid, up to certain level its temperature increases. At a particular temperature, there will not be any rise in the temperature, and only the heat energy given is used to change the state. That heat energy is called as latent heat. It is called latent heat. Latent means hidden. Latent means hidden. That means the heat energy after reaching certain level, the matter temperature remains constant even though we are supplying heat energy. That heat energy is used to break the force of attraction between the particles, to make or break the force of attraction between the particles. So that heat energy we cannot see in the form of temperature. We cannot observe the rise in temperature if we observe in thermometer. So that's why that heat energy is called as latent heat. That means if you take a solid, the solid is getting converted into liquid. At which state the total solid gets converted into liquid, the heat energy given at that situation, it is called as latent heat of fusion. It is called as a latent heat of fusion. That means if you take some amount of ice, if you are increasing the temperature increases gradually up to some value, and there will be stop in the rising of temperature, and even though we are supplying heat energy, till the total ice melts into water, the temperature remains constant. That at that time, how much amount of heat energy we are giving, it is called a latent heat of fusion. The definition for latent heat of fusion is that the amount of heat required to change 1 kg of solid into liquid. The amount of heat energy required to change 1 kg of solid into liquid is called the latent heat of fusion. Like that, the total ice melts into water. Then we can observe there is a rise in the temperature in the thermometer, and the temperature goes on increases, and up to certain level it increases, and again it stops. Again it stops, and even though we are supplying heat energy, there will not be any change in the temperature till the water is getting converted into water vapor. That means till the liquid state is getting converted into gaseous state. The amount of heat energy required to convert the total liquid into gas, that is called as latent heat of vaporization. It is called latent heat of vaporization. Like latent heat of fusion, we can give the definition for latent heat of vaporization. It is nothing but the amount of heat energy given to change 1 kg of liquid into gas. To change the state of 1 kg of liquid into gas, how much amount of heat we are supplying is called latent heat of vaporization. Here, by change of pressure, that means you can see the gases. If you apply the pressure and if you decrease the temperature, they can be converted into liquids. Gases can be liquefied by increasing the pressure and by decreasing the temperature. That only we are doing to, if you observe CNG, compressed natural gas, or LPG, liquefied petroleum gas, in that in cylinders the gas is available in the form of liquids. The same procedure, compressibility, that means we will increase the temperature, we will increase the pressure and the temperature will be decreased, and the gas particles will be compressed to closer by applying pressure. They get converted into liquid state and they can fill in very less volume. The next topic is evaporation. Change of state of liquid into gas. Liquid can be changed into gas at a particular temperature. It is what we call it as boiling, and boiling is a bulk phenomenon. Total particles will get same amount of heat energy. And after reaching that boiling point only, the total liquid gets converted into gas. But here, in our daily life situations, just for an example, if you pour a pot of water on the floor, after some time if you observe, we can observe the total water is getting evaporated. It's not evaporated. Like that only clothes will get dry after some time when they in sun. This is also an example of evaporation. About evaporation we are going to learn now. Change of state of liquid into gas at any temperature without reaching its boiling point. Here the main thing is that without reaching the boiling point, below its boiling point only the total liquid gets changed into gas. It is called as evaporation. Evaporation is a surface phenomenon. This is most important. Evaporation is a surface phenomenon. That means the particles on the surface gets the heat energy and their kinetic energy goes on increases and after some time they break the force of attraction between the particles which are at the lower level, and these particles will get separate from the liquid and they change into gas. This is called as evaporation. We have seen some of the examples of evaporation. Evaporation of water. If we in summer season, if we see a canal, the total water is getting evaporated and the water level is getting decreased in summer season. This is the reason for the evaporation. Factors affecting the evaporation. These are the four factors which affect the evaporation. The first one is surface area, and the second one is temperature, and the third one is humidity, and the fourth one is wind speed. So first one is the surface area. If you take a water in a bowl and in a plate, same amount of water in a bowl and in a plate, and put in the sun, after some time you can observe more amount of water got evaporated which we taken on plate because it is having more surface. Like that only temperature. If the temperature is more, the particles, more number of particles can get more kinetic energy and easily they will get evaporated. The speed of rate of evaporation. Evaporation takes place faster if the surface area is more or temperature of the surroundings is more. Third one is that humidity. Humidity is the amount of water vapor present in the surroundings. If humidity is more, the rate of evaporation is less. That means at a particular area, only some amount of water vapor is allowed. If already that amount of water vapor is present in the surroundings, evaporation becomes slower. So, if humidity is more, evaporation decreases. Evaporation will become less. Rate of evaporation will become less. The next one is wind speed. If wind is blowing, the evaporated particles will blown away to other place. So that's why the evaporation takes place faster. That means if the wind is blowing, these evaporated particles are thrown away. If there is wind speed, then the rate of evaporation increases. So you have to remember that these are the four factors which affect the rate of evaporation: surface area, temperature, and wind speed. When these three are present, the rate of evaporation becomes faster. In case of humidity, it is in indirect way. If humidity is more, rate of evaporation is less. And another small thing we have to discuss is there are three scales to measure the temperature. Generally, we will use the degree Celsius, which is called as the Celsius scale. This is generally we will use in giving the value of temperature. But there are two other scales to measure the temperature. They are Kelvin scale and Fahrenheit scale. Kelvin scale, just capital K we will write. We did not write degrees here. It is called as absolute temperature also. Celsius scale, Kelvin scale, Fahrenheit scale. These are the three different scales used to measure the temperature given by three different scientists. Celsius, Kelvin, Fahrenheit, all are the name of the scientists which they introduced a measurement to measure the temperature.